we are trying something out new here called Making a Dynasty. I'm taking a look at my buddy's Dynasty team on Sleeper, and we're going to try to diagnose his issues and try to target some trade partners and improve this lineup. So I'm going to bring in my buddy here, CK. And what's going on, dude?
I need your help, man.
Yes. Okay. So we were preparing and chit chatting about the roster, and I was trying to go back. Man, I had to
Yeah,
start off as a
making me painfully relive all these
yes,
moments in my life
yes.
that
I had many questions. I wanted to go back to the startup draft. Sleeper, what are you doing with the website? Like some very basic things that we can't even go back and do here. On the app, we are able to go look at all the drafts pretty easily, but on the website, when I try to go back, all I can get is your supplemental rookie draft. So this is a brand new dynasty. It just started last year, had the startup, and then the rookie draft was ran separately after the startup, it looks like. So yeah, it only lets me go back and look at the rookie draft. So Sleeper, get your act together here.
yeah, I think we're both kind of befuddled by that whole
Yeah.
aspect of things.
So okay. So I kind of maneuvered your starting lineup to put your best players in there. But man, beyond the starters, we've got a lot of work to do. So
Yeah.
the first thing I remember you told me you did was in the rookie draft, you traded up to go grab Trey Sermon.
Yeah, and it was also a panic because J.K. Dobbins went down in the preseason, I believe. If I'm not
Right.
mistaken, I think that would line up now that I think about it was I think J.K. went down in the preseason. I was like, shit, I need a running back to pair with Chubb, which is another
Right.
story we'll get to. And
Yeah.
let's just say the 49ers don't really, really like to fuck
Listen,
around with running backs.
they traded up in the NFL draft to get him. So believe me, there was plenty of people fooled by the Trey Sermon mirage. It didn't make any sense. Elijah Mitchell comes out of nowhere. You weren't the only one, trust me. So don't feel
Yeah.
too bad. And we learn from that, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of fell in between this rule here. So the general rule is draft, especially in Dynasty, right? Draft talent, trade for need. So you did sort of trade for need in the fact that Dobbins already went down. You're heading into your inaugural season here with essentially one running back in Nick Chubb. So you did sort of trade for need. It just was not the greatest choice, I guess. And I was looking back at your rookie draft. So you traded up from 7-4, gave away James White to do that. So with the 7th pick that was originally yours, the guy got Jalen Waddle. So in hindsight, who do we prefer? Waddle by a country mile, right? So I,
Yeah, I would say so.
with the whole draft talent trade for need rule, I guess situations
I
like this
honestly think I'll just go BPA anymore in rookie drafts more so than
exactly
that.
in the yeah. Don't like if Sermon had made it to you at 7 and you stayed put, fine. But trading up to go get a guy for a 3rd round running back, you know, just yeah, hang tight unless there's like a short thing. Like we could talk about this year. What I would try to do a move like that for would be a guy like Breece Hall, 2nd round draft capital, great production in college, great athletic profile. Trey Sermon only had 3rd round draft capital because of Kyle Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan only. I don't think there was going to be any other team looking to take him that early. He probably realistically should have been a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick in the NFL draft. So that got everyone tantalized, like, oh, he traded up to go get his running back, and we all fell for the trap. So,
Yeah.
again, we learned from that, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, his profile was not great. So
Slow start at Ohio State too that year. He kind of caught on at the end of the season into their bowl game, which I think also contributed a lot of the hype there.
nice. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's just do a quick sweep through the starters to begin. Herbert, great. Now this is one QB. Is it PPR? I didn't get to look at the settings. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
League. Okay.
I think half point though, if I'm not mistaken.
6-point touchdowns, -2 for interceptions, receiving half point. Okay. Receiving first downs get a half a point. So that's interesting. So that's the only real wrinkle. It's a pretty standard league, half point PPR, half point for first downs. So that's fine. So Herbert is a great quarterback to have, even in one QB where it's not as important. So solid job there. Now originally I looked at your startup, right? And you had Chubb, and then was Dobbins your second round pick?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, 207. So what happened to Chubb? Tell us the story there. You
I got
traded him
tilted.
away.
I got tilted mid-season, and I was like, I need to do something. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
My team's cheeks, like, J.K. Dobbins went down, and then I lost, what's his name? The Vikings tight end off the top of my head, sorry.
Irv?
Yeah, I lost Irv too. Like, all went down,
Okay.
like, early on there.
Yeah.
So, I was tilted big time.
Yeah. So we traded away his first round startup draft pick. Now you did get 2 firsts back, which I don't hate. So you at least got
I
some
think
decent
one's
value.
next
So
year, though, if I'm not mistaken. So.
yes, but no, that I was gonna say that's very good. So yeah, it looks like right here, Wentz is vaccine. So you've got 223 first. That's good. You have now this is your pick, and you got a 2022 first, 10th overall. So you've got some ammunition here to start the rebuild already in year 2. 2 firsts this year and 2
I
firsts
tore it
next
all
year.
down in the first year.
So at least we've got some ammunition going forward. So it's not hopeless. I'll say that. So now we look at running back. We've got Dobbins coming back off ACL, right?
I believe so, yeah. ACL.
Knee, yeah, ACL, MCL. Coming off torn ACL. So, he's a big question mark, right? It's already a crowded backfield. They're already planning to use Gus Edwards last year. And then, of course, you've got Lamar stealing valuable touches all the time. So Dobbins is a guy. Now, here's some even more potential, see, now we're going to look at it almost as coordinated tanking or thinking of it as like consciously tanking, right?
Yeah.
If Dobbins starts off strong, my advice is going to be to find a buyer and settle for nothing less than a first rounder and maybe plus. Now that's going to leave you with absolutely no one, but that could be a good thing. If you end up with the number 1 overall next year, you've got Bijan Robinson coming out, the running back out of Texas. He's already the 101 of rookie drafts for next year. It's not really a question unless he gets some sort of injury, which would be incredibly unfortunate. He's already the 101 next year. So if Dobbins can start hot out of the gate or at any point in the year, if he gets hot, trade him. Do not hesitate and trade him. Unless you're somehow miraculously making a run here during the season, which no offense, I don't think that's probably going to happen.
I did kind of inadvertently get accused of what's the term you use there? Tanking. Yeah, I was
Now
thrown
does your
out
league
there.
have rules against it, or were people just upset?
I think there's like less ping pong balls potentially if you get actually accused of it. It was just whispered in some circles around me, but
So right, so I mean, I don't know what
when
you
you
would do.
trade Nick Chubb.
Well, I mean, you got 2 firsts for him.
True.
That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
it's not a totally egregious thing. I mean, he was, in a format like this, half PPR, he's not like setting the world on fire or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long if Dobbins is healthy, you don't want to be benching him necessarily, but
Mm-hmm.
the making the trades and whatnot, I think is a really good idea. So that's gonna be my first piece of advice: is if Dobbins gets hot at all, go find buyers and get either another 2023 first or a 24. I would take a 24. That class is also going to be very good, especially from the running back position. There's some really great talents that have been coming out for the past few years, and there's some really good top end running back talent over the next few years as well. I actually saw a really interesting thread or idea on Twitter that said, with all this NIL stuff going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And NFL, devaluing the running back position.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if some of these people that are scheduled to come out in 2023, who are probably going second, third round with not, humongous contracts? What if NIL deals give them more money than they would make coming out and being a second or third round draft pick? So we may even see, probably not the top end talents, but we may see some of these, mid-tier running back talents staying in college for massive NIL deals rather than jumping into the league. So just something, kind of a
Something to
abstract
consider.
idea.
Yeah, and
But
I'll be upfront with you. To be honest with you, I'm actually just tanking for Nick Singleton in 2025 at this point. So,
yes, that's our guy.
so I'm just waiting on that. Actually, this is his
I
career
love it.
plan.
Well, that made me get a little frustrated to try and tag for 3 years in a row, but
I know I already had to do a stand-up comedy act this year, so I only can
oh,
imagine
that's
what I got to
your
do next year. Yeah,
that was your punishment.
yeah.
Oh
I don't
no.
know if I have enough material for 3 years in a row.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's your, because if we jump down to the bench here, you basically have no depth at all. Ty
Yeah.
Johnson, droppable. Tyson Williams, droppable. Trey Sermon, you kind of have to hold on to him and keep your fingers crossed, but he, probably not going to see the field too much. And then I don't think we have any other running backs. So you're already thin there. That's already your biggest trouble position. So why not just go all out, get rid of Dobbins? Maybe you get back, a rookie from this year, or just some depth piece, maybe a veteran that's still got a few years left in him,
Plus,
a
like a
role
first
player.
rounder.
Yeah. So that's definitely my first piece of advice. Now Hines he's a nice little, he's going to be really inconsistent, but he's a nice little, he's more of
He does catch
I would prefer,
passes. Yeah.
exactly. And for first down points, he'll get a bunch of that. So I would prefer him to be a flex player, not my RB2.
Yeah.
But now he's the kind of guy you want to hold on to. You don't want to be throwing him into any deals, I would say, because he can be a very valuable depth piece and
Mhm.
bye week type fill-in type guy. He's obviously not some super, like, if you've got some awesome deal that comes your way and they want to include Hines and that's somehow a deal breaker, obviously he's not worthy of costing you some crazy deal. But
Yeah.
Hines is a guy I would recommend, keep and hold on to. Don't drop him. Don't use him as a throw-in to any other trades. Hang on to him. I think he could be a valuable depth piece for you moving
Mhm.
forward. And he's still young. He's James White Jr., right? He's
Yeah.
got a defined role. You could see, is this his game loss from last year? Yeah, you can see he's inconsistent, and he's more of a game script guy, but he has the ability to pop. And
He has a couple
supposedly I
like
try
15 plus games, I guess, that last year.
exactly. And now I don't love to, I take coach speak with a ton of grains of salt, but you can see this little blurb right here. Of course, he's playing to our hearts. Frank Reich goes, if I was going to be in fantasy league, I think I would pick Naheem Hines this year. So
Seems like a phrase cut and pasted out of like Madden.
Now, normally this is the kind of news you want to use to sell a player like that and be like, hey, here Hines is going to have a bigger role this year, and you try to get maybe an early second out of someone. But in
Yeah.
your situation, I think you're going to need him. He's young. He's got a defined role. I hang on to a guy like this with the coordinated tank that I think we're going to do here. So I would be hanging on to him. The receivers core here is older, but they are good. So Deante Johnson, obviously
It's the
even
youngest of
had
the studs
PPR.
there.
Exactly. And, he still gets a ton of targets. Now, a big question mark behind the quarterback situation this year, but I honestly think between Pickett or Trubisky, they're both gigantic upgrades over Roethlisberger from the past couple of years. So Johnson is I would almost classify him close to being a cornerstone piece. He's, unless you're getting a massive deal back for him, he's almost untradeable for you right now.
Yeah.
Unless you're getting like two first back at a minimum, I wouldn't even consider. He's not even on the block. Is
Yeah.
how I would classify that. Allen Robinson sucked last year, right?
Well,
Kind of to be expected.
you kind of expect a bounce back there. You hope at least, going
Yes.
to LA and having
Right.
Matthew Stafford.
That's why I love him. I love the landing spot, and I love him to be a bounce back guy this year. You could tell. I mean, he was on the franchise tag. It didn't sound like they were going to sign him. I don't really blame him for kind of throwing the towel in for that whole year, so as not to get injured or anything like that. So I think Robinson's a nice piece to have. He is. So he's getting up there in age. He's 28. What I would consider is I think you're going to need him for this year for sure. But honestly, it's kind of the same thing. If he with same thought process as Dobbins, right? If he gets hot, especially early on, float him out there on the block to a team that's contending, and maybe grab that 2024 first, because maybe by then they won't be as good of a team, and it'll be a higher pick. So I would float him out there if he, goes on a nice little stretch run, because he is getting up there in age. He has had injury issues. He has had really inconsistent production throughout his career. So, although I do really love him for this season, I don't know that he's going to
Trade
benefit
piece or
you.
a trade bait or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to benefit you much through the rebuild here.
No.
Shoot, he might even be a guy to float out there during this year's rookie draft, for people on the clock in the mid to late first. If maybe they don't like anybody that's on the board for them, but there's some of those receivers, those first and second round receivers that came
Yeah.
out, I might float him out there for that even.
Even with the deep class this year.
Yeah, because I think you can get that and maybe a depth piece back for Robinson. So like uh, guys like Chris Olave, if Garrett Wilson slide, Jameson Williams, there we go. That's a name to hit on. Going to be injured to start the year. Great profile. Yeah, being on lines worries me, but they're probably in a position to take a really good quarterback next year because they're probably not going to win many games. So, like, if you're sitting at, I know you have the 110, right? If that one, 6, 7, 8, 9 is on the clock and Jameson Williams is out there, maybe float Robinson out there to them and get like a first. And how many rounds your rookie draft? 4?
4 or 5, I forget.
Yeah. So maybe grab a first and like their last round rookie pick, the 4th or the 5th, whatever it might be. Just see, because I mean, most people should really like this landing spot. We saw what Beckham did when he joined the Rams. He had a bit of a resurgence. Robert Woods is gone, and Van Jefferson, who is also on your team, stinks. So, and maybe you could package them together. Go Robinson and Jefferson for a first and like a 4th or something. I just don't. I don't love him. He's old. He's slow. I'm not a fan. So that's what I would be. That would be my thought process with Robinson. We're gonna stick to the wide receivers. Gage, actually, great opportunity this year. Chris Godwin injured is probably not going to be healthy for at least the first half, probably closer to the first 3/4 of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Gage steps into a number 2 receiver role right away. Again, same thought process though. He's 26, so yeah, if somebody's clamoring for him, again, any of your guys that aren't Deante Johnson or Herbert or Hines that go have go crazy or have a few nice games, you need to be putting them on the block immediately. So take advantage of the hype of when they're going off. But if you don't get any takers, he's only 26. Maybe he hangs around, and Mike Evans is getting pretty old. Maybe they trade Godwin or don't re-sign Godwin. So not the worst guy to keep around either. So Tyler Boyd, he's like the Naheem Hines of wide receivers, right? He'll pop off, but you never know when it's going to be. It's incredibly inconsistent, but
And he's playing next to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yes, he's buried, but he's with Burrow on that offense. He's 27. He's just, again, he's another guy that yeah, you hang on to him, but if somebody comes knocking on your door or he has a stretch, you throw him on the block and you listen to offers. For both Gage and Boyd, man, in season, maybe like a future second plus, like a Van Jefferson type wide receiver, only a better. Maybe you could get seconds or 2 seconds, a 23 and a 24 or something like that. These are all things that I would probably smash except for guys like that in a rebuild situation. Thielen, you're probably not going to get many takers. He may have to die on your roster. Obviously, we know his upside. If he could just stay healthy, that would be fantastic. But, same position. He's super old. He's obviously a trade bait target for a contender. So see what you can get if he gets hot too. So is there any of these guys that we've gone over that you disagree with these thought processes or what?
No, I mean, everything makes sense for the most part, to be honest with you. I don't have a lot to be proud of here. So
he was a 6th-round startup pick. Tyler Boyd was a 7th-round startup pick. Now we didn't know, Jamar Chase was going to come along, but Gage is an 11th rounder.
Passes and stuff.
Yeah. 3rd rounder. So yeah, you got
you live in your life.
5th round. 5th rounder was good. So yeah, exactly. Freiermuth, obviously a stud, great tight end. You should be hanging on to him for a few years. Even though it's not tight end premium though, right? And he's kind of a touchdown or bust type guy, but maybe he gets a little more consistent. So when I peeked at your bench, I noticed you have a ton of tight ends. So the bench, this is where things get scary. And this is why you want to be trading off these guys that we mentioned, the guys that have value, and acquire as many picks as possible, because you've got a lot of bench additions that need to be made. Darnold, yikes. Might not be, he's going to be in a battle with Corral most likely this year. Jordan Love, I get the idea. I get what the thought process was there, but it doesn't sound like Rodgers is leaving anytime soon. Honestly, in a one QB league this small with this, it's not tiny, but it's not a huge bench. He's a potential cut guy for me, to be perfectly honest. It's 1 QB. There's no premiums. You've got Herbert.
I mean, obviously Darnold could start, so you're not going to cut him. You're going to.
Well, Darnold would be a cut if he's not named the starter. I'm just saying, Love. If at any point he becomes a roster clogger for you, don't hesitate to cut him. Obviously, if you could trade him, I would probably take a 3rd for him at this point.
There's some starters available too that I can pick up, like because Herbert's obviously, you
don't have much to worry.
Available,
exactly.
not the best in the
Aside
league.
from bye week, you really don't have much to worry about in quarterback there. So that's why I just, if down the line you've acquired a bunch of draft picks and you need to make roster cuts and Love's still hanging around, that's all I'm saying. Now, not this year. It probably wouldn't make a lot of sense to just cut bait. If anything, find a trade partner, get a 23 third, 24 third, something like that. But that's what I mean. As you start to make these picks and you need to make roster cuts, that's when I wouldn't hesitate to cut him. I don't think he's very good to begin with. And yeah, it just wouldn't bother me to dump him. The backup running back stable, the cupboard is pretty damn bare. But you know what? Running backs come along every year. You'll be able to waiver wire someone to at least get you through. But honestly, that would be a good thing. Especially if you're able to trade Dobbins if he gets hot, because then having no running backs to start, you're probably not going to win many games. Which in this scenario, is kind of what we want, right? So Ty Johnson is a cut. Tyson Williams is a cut. Trey Sermon only because you've got the invested draft capital. You kind of have to hang on to him for at least this one more year and see if anything happens. Maybe he gets onto the field. Probably not. They are chock full of running backs. Jeff Wilson's coming back healthy. Obviously, Elijah Mitchell. They drafted another third round running back, and they've got Mostert, and I think they have a UDFA or two that's going to be in camp. Like it's a goddamn nightmare. But you can't cut him. Same thing. The second he scores a touchdown, you put him on the block and see if someone will give you like a third.
I'm gonna be watching scores rather carefully this year. Sometimes I'll set it and I'll watch the games of the week, but I'll be glued to a lot of these guys' stats now, I guess. Just trying to offload someone at the right, opportune time.
So it looks like you have the waiver wire open. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Is it let's see here. Let me see. So everyone's on waivers, huh? All right. Oh wow. Okay. All right, well, we'll go through that when we're done too, because I'm probably going to want to make some ad drops right away. Starting with Mr. Henry Ruggs. Did you hang on to him because you thought maybe there's a chance he has to go to jail? What was going on there?
I think I didn't want to look at this team until I sat down with the experts. I don't know. Maybe I forgot it. Like someone asked me, is he going to perform stand up in prison? I don't know, because that's my punishment. But I think it's safe to say I can hit this drop button right now, right?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Wilson is gone.
I can make some.
It stinks. So you guys don't use Taxi Squad, huh?
I thought we did, but I think it goes away until.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure. I remember I had to move everyone off my taxi squad, I believe, into the bench.
Interesting.
So I had to make cuts at that point.
Okay. Well, here, let's just go through and do this now. I mean, Ty Johnson, Sia, Tyson Williams.
Oh, wait, it's not letting me drop.
It's saying, I'm doing it. I got you. We're hooked up here.
Right. Forgot.
Albert Wilson, Sia. All right. Let's see, Zangies guys. Honestly, Tyler Croft. Sia. He's you can pick it back up on waivers if Kittle goes down or something. All right. Now the other guys I like, so we have Freiermuth. I'm still an OJ Howard truther. I'm still stashing him a million places. I can't give up on him. I think the move to Buffalo, if anywhere, it can't get much worse than being stuck behind Gronk and then getting injured every year in Tampa. So he's I think objectively he's a better talent than Dawson Knox. But Knox has, been with Allen. They might have rapport together. So it might be an uphill battle to see some time, but I'm willing to hang on to him and see what happens in camp, see how injuries shake out, see how the first couple of weeks shake out with snap shares and whatnot. So I can't quit him. Conklin, I've been dropping him in deep leagues. Honestly, he's probably a drop here, but I get. Let's hang on. Let's see who's available. Irv Smith, I love him. So you've got the Alabama tight ends, cornered. So that's great. They have a lot of upside. They just need to stay healthy and get on the field and earn some targets. So not the worst tight end crew either. As far as the end of the wide receivers, I'm not going to drop any of these guys yet, but he's gone. I just have to refresh it. But between Jefferson, Amari Rogers, and Smith Marset, again, I would, if anybody like Amari Rogers, supposedly in the best shape of his life, blah, blah, blah. If you could get someone to bite on him during the rookie draft, like if there's a player coming up in like the second, third, even fourth round that you like, I would float Rogers out there to someone to try to pick up because, again, we're trying to add draft picks.
Look 22 if you look at his picture.
Yeah,
he's like 28.
Oh, really? Yeah, geez. Yeah, I'm not a believer in him. Smith Marset, they drafted a kid out of Michigan State, Jalen Naylor, in the 6th round. Smith Marset was a 5th round. He's got some competition. I know he got on the field, had a nice, week 18 here, 3 for 103 and a touchdown. So he's got upside, but I think he's just buried. I guess he's kind of your Adam Thielen handcuff, right? He's just not a guy that he's just kind of indifferent to me. So he's same idea. Like if he's clogging your roster, I wouldn't hesitate to drop him. So,
but when he is that week, you're kind of like, ooh, maybe I can.
Yeah. So we freed up some bench spots, 4 bench spots. Oh wait, it's still showing Ruggs. Let's refresh.
I think because maybe you and I were doing it this. Now he's gone.
I know.
I think he's gone now.
There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bench spots. So let's put in some waiver claims. How about? Obviously running back. So obviously you won't let you take the rookies, right?
Yeah. You filter them all. You can turn. No, you can't turn off rookies.
Yeah, it'll go to only rookies, or it'll go to. So let's see.
That's annoying.
I know. Oh, here, season projections. Here, I think if I did it, I did it by ADP, so that should bring most of them to the top. And then once we get past them, here we go. Okay, so Kenny Drake, Mark Ingram, Benny Snell, Damian Williams, yuck. Derek Gore, Rex Burkhead. I'm just thinking about, grabbing some guys that, can sit at the end of your bench. And if you absolutely need people to plug in, Giovanni Bernard, they re-signed him. Are they even projecting? Yeah. Okay.
One question about receivers. If Jameson Williams there at 10, I don't have to trade up for him. Is that an automatic snap pick?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. We'll go peek in your draft room too, and see how it's projecting to shake out. Okay.
I don't have ADP, I think, in mind. May not be anything to pick up.
Yeah, running back, it's a little thin. I'm just resorted by projected fantasy points to see if anybody else interesting pops up that isn't a rookie. And mostly no.
That's why we acquire more picks.
Exactly. So yeah, there. I might. All right. Let's see. How about wide receiver? I'm not really going to look at the other positions because they're.
It's not as
Yeah, they're just not as necessary. There's got to be a couple. Barrios, that might not be a terrible dart throw.
Who was it?
Braxton Barrios.
Mm.
He had a handful of games last year. It was usually due to injury. So, and we want to think young here, like, yeah, because Baltimore's got a lot of open space on that wide receiver depth chart. I think Demarcus Robinson to the Raiders. I mean, where's right, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and then he's technically the wide receiver 3 there.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad this isn't best ball. I would love him in a best ball. He's probably gonna have 2 or 3 like awesome weeks, but you'll never guess right. Demir B is so old. Dez Fitzpatrick is a rookie from last year. He might be a guy to take a shot on. Khalif Raymond had some good games in the slot role. But he's not someone you're gonna. I'm trying to grab some guys that might be worth keeping after this year.
Yeah.
A little Auden Tate. I'm definitely putting in a claim for him. We're gonna just do one dot. Auden Tate. He could end up being the wide receiver too, fairly easily there. So him I like because he's only 25. So yeah, he could be a guy that is worth hanging on to in the future. Oh wow, N'Keal Harry. Holy smokes. He if he finally gets a change of scenery,
he was highly thought of out of the draft.
Yeah, I mean he's got first round draft capital. It just seems to it's very obviously not.
I think I wanted the Eagles to draft him at one point, or wouldn't have minded if they did.
Yeah, it's very clearly just not a good fit there.
You think he's worth putting a claim in for?
Yeah. Only because after this year, I think he'll be.
He can be stashed on the taxi too.
There, no, I was gonna say no because.
Oh wait, okay,
yeah. But see, this year will be his 4th, and then there's no chance that they pick up his 5th year option. So he'll be somewhere else next year. And that's why I think he's a good stash for you. Because if he can catch on somewhere else and finally do what he was, projected to do, then no, we're not going to do Josh Gordon.
Been there, done that.
This is a guy I really actually like to target for the end of your last round pick. Like if you can grab like a few 4th rounders or something, I really like him.
The commissioner of the league just texted me, "Why are you dropping all these people?"
Because we're trying to get this team to be better. What does he care?
I said because.
Just send him the Making a Murderer theme song link and don't say anything. All right, I think that's it for.
Send a picture of Santa Claus.
Yeah. Like Barrios, he's young, kinda. He only really, I don't know. He only got chances last year because of like injuries and stuff, and they drafted Garrett Wilson.
He said, "Well, you don't have to. You can have the 23 guys." Well, I'm going to get back to 23 guys. That's the point.
Exactly. Yes. John Jennings.
Soon they see.
Yeah. If Debo doesn't pan out, Jennings might be a good dart throw.
I'm taking notes. So
Yeah, we'll put in a $0 clean. So that's 3
You
wide
can't go through,
receivers.
but in this league,
We'll do 2 running backs. I think Rex Burkhead, although it's gross. Actually, Mark Ingram might not be a bad dart throw. Um, just to have
it's better
guys
than what I had.
it's because think about the gameplay, right? If we're able to trade away Dobbins, you're still going to need bodies to start.
Yeah.
So these guys, you could literally keep them for this year and then dump them for next year. So I'm going to do Ingram as a $0 and find Sexy Rexy as a 0. Kenny Drake might be a decent one too. Let's see. Can we drop anyone else?
I mean, I guess you could technically drop Jordan Love.
Alex, I wouldn't do it yet. Honestly, how much do you care about Tyler Conklin?
No.
Okay, let's do him because I don't think he's going to be much in. I think CJ Uzoma's there. I think he's way better. And they also drafted a rookie who's got a really nice profile. So I think Conklin is nothing more than a blocking depth piece for the Jets. And unless Uzoma goes down, he's probably not going to get many opportunities. So there we go. We got 6 claims in. It's obviously the cupboard's pretty bare, but it is what it is. Cool. So let's review that. We have Auden Tate for $1, N'Keal Harry for 0 because nobody wants him anymore. Juwan Jennings for 0. Ingram, Burkhead, and Drake as potentially all just bodies to get you through because we're going to try to trade away Dobbins. We're going to hang on to Hines.
Maybe Robinson too.
We're going to try to trade away Robinson. Honestly, all these wide receivers outside of Deante are trade candidates.
Yeah.
And that's where you should also be, I don't know when your rookie draft isn't scheduled yet, right now. So once it gets scheduled, put all the guys that we just talked about, even including Dobbins. Maybe somebody's a truther and will give you a first and a second right off the bat, without even seeing if he comes back healthy. So put him out, at least get people's mind going a little bit about these guys that are going to be available, for especially for those teams that are contenders. They should want a handful of those guys. All right, so let's prepare for the draft now. So you've got, unfortunately, you would have had the 101, which would have been awesome to get Brees.
I don't remember exactly what that trade is with him.
Yeah,
maybe that was the swap last year. I don't remember.
I know. I think we tried to look it up and we were having trouble. It was
either way, it sucks.
at least you swapped and you still got the 1-2. So let me know so what do you think about Kenneth Walker? Are you a fan?
I'm not excited about him.
Not excited. All right. So if you're not,
I think Brees Hall is the clear best running back in this draft by
definitely. I think Walker's going to, and this is why it'll be good for your build. That Walker, year one, he's probably not going to live up to very lofty expectations. But moving forward, they're not going to bring Penny back, or if they do, he's going to come back as a backup. Despite Walker being second round and Penny being first round, Walker's better. I don't think that's really debatable. He's got a much better profile. He's just better in every way. The league is just no longer drafting running backs in the first round anymore. So I get why you would be not super excited, but I would urge you to, be a little bit more excited.
I mean, either way, I'm hurting. The goal. I'm hurting at running back. I have to take what I can get here.
Exactly, which is why you should definitely be trying to trade this pick for sure. I would say if you could trade like someone like, the 9, the 11, or the 12 to trade back to there and pick up. They're probably not going to give you a 23 first, but they might give you a 24 or 25. That 20, try to get a 25, and maybe they stink by 25, and there's your boy Singleton, with the 101 or the 102. So if they're willing to trade back, or let's see, nobody's got, so there's a lot of movement in the first, but there's no movement in the second. I was gonna say, even if maybe one of these good teams down here had like an early second, I would trade out of it to here and pick up a future first. But see what you could do, see who's interested. Maybe, if you could find someone who really loves Kenneth Walker, maybe they'll trade back.
If you trade to that second spot and get a first somehow, who are you taking in that spot?
Well, but see, I don't know if I would give up trading all the way down here in the second. Like I would want
like
this.
early, I mean, yeah.
I would want one of these first and either a 24 or 25 first to move up that far. And I know that's kind of a hard sell for a lot of guys. That's I mean, you're gonna have to like do some detective work and see if anybody's like in love with Walker. Or in love with one of the wide receivers. So don't tip your hand totally. Be like, well, I don't really like Walker, so I might grab one of these receivers, and don't say which one, because maybe there's a London truther or a Burks truther. And then when you're picked, try to hold off until the draft has actually started, because that's, usually when you can get people to make the most like the worst decisions, because they'll panic and
yeah, like, oh, I only have so much time to do this or something.
Yeah, like be like, I'm gonna pick
like
guys.
If you do say, if you were to move back like from the first one of 102, if you moved back to one of those later first, or which you still have the other first too, or you moved early second, who are you taking? You going one of the other running backs in particular? Anyone that falls later there that you like? Obviously, it's like Spiller, but guys like that.
Yeah, no. The only guy worth even considering in the first round would be James Cook. And I actually do like him, but it feels
interesting. I'm looking at this like projection they did for the rookie running backs, and they have, in terms of yards, they have Hall, Pierce, and Kenneth Walker 1, 2, 3. James Cook's not even in the top 5 there. Not that matters. There means that carry as much weight. It's just funny that I mean, I would definitely say James Cook is up there, but this little simulation they ran, I guess.
That's not IDP Guy's projections, I don't think. Where are those projections coming from?
It's just ESPN, Mike Clay.
Oh God, boo! Yeah. I mean, Pierce isn't even. What is he, 4th round? People are falling in love with him, and what's 102? Okay, 3rd round. I mean, he feels like, I don't know.
I mean, if he's there, my second pick in this, if he's somehow there in the rookie draft, my 2nd round pick.
Yeah, the 2-1.
Would you take him or something, or 2?
Maybe.
I'm talking like 210. Like if he was there, would you take someone like that? Maybe.
Well, you don't have 210.
Oh wait, who am I looking at? Oh, 2. Oh yeah, that's right.
You only have one extra pick in this draft, and that's the 110.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm trying to think. Well, so if you can't trade out of here, just trust me and take Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I don't think I'm like, listen, I'm not as high as him as I would have been.
Right, but you kind of just gotta.
But like,
trust
like he still like can be very good, and he's going to a good situation probably from a running back perspective potentially in coming years. I just don't know what the Seahawks plan really is.
Nobody does.
Yeah, so I don't know. Post Russ. But yeah, so I guess like in a perfect scenario, probably take Ken Walker 1, 2, and then hope there's maybe a receiver at that next pick at 110 is like the way to go then.
Yes. Now, why does it say? It seems like it's saying that you have the number 4 pick too, but that it says R.
No, it's Mitchum.
Yeah, I don't know why it thinks.
Were you seeing that? Sorry.
Like down, like see here with the blue line, projected pick, round 1, overall number 2, right here.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's doing it down here for number 4, because and then it does it down here for number 10, which you do have, and there's round 2, pick 1 overall 13. So for some reason it thinks you have the 4, but whatever. So Walker's definitely the pick at 2 unless you can trade it. At 10, so it's got Williams here right in between before your pick. However, that's just the current ADP. It's tough to trust him. So I love him for you there. I love James Cook for you there. I love Sky Moore, George Pickens. This is exactly why I would love for you to be able to trade back here, and just load up on good wide receivers, and then get your running backs next year because you're probably going to be picking high. So that I would just try everything in your power to do that. If you
trade
can't,
out of that second,
if they won't give you the trade back plus the first, and this could be a little risky. I mean, some people might argue against this advice, but I'm thinking now, like these guys that are in this range, right? If they don't want to give up this pick plus, a 24 or 25 first, which is definitely what I would ask for first. Again, I understand that that's probably a tough sell, especially if people aren't crazy about Walker or if they think you're going to grab one of the wide receivers. I'm thinking maybe then make them give you a 2 and a 3 and the future. You have to get a first somewhere, but a lot of people don't like to give up their current year's pick, which would be okay. But as long as you're picking up picks, to potentially draft more players in general. So like I might consider trading out of the 1-2 to one of these guys, even back here, if they would give you their 2 and their 3 and a 24 and 25 first, something like that. You know what I mean? It's not going to feel great, but
I don't get an extra first out of that. I just
right. You're picking up a future first, but you're getting picks in this year's draft to add depth to your team. So I would consider that if people are pushing back on.
One you mentioned initially is the one I want to do if I can, is just trade back and swap first and then maybe get something next year too.
Right.
Well, hopefully we want something next year. We have to get something next year too.
And honestly, I would probably just work backwards then. Start with this guy at the 12 and throw it out there. Then the 11, the Wentz guy. Then you have this pick and then this guy, because you're probably going to have more luck with these two than these guys in the middle. But again, you're just going to really have to play, play detective and see who they like, and, just play up the fact that you're, don't know who I'm going to take with this pick, try to play it coy.
Yeah.
But so there's definitely going to be good value here.
So it wouldn't even be bad to go. You wouldn't even say it'd be bad to go 2 wide receivers if I trade back or something.
Definitely not. They have so much more longevity. I mean, any of these guys in the middle. I know you're a Penn State guy. I'm not a big Dawson fan, so I would probably be passing on him there.
Yeah, I usually put that aside. So
Watson, he rose up draft boards in
college, but he's obviously had some injuries too.
Yeah, landing in Houston isn't the greatest landing spot. So
hey, maybe what's his name?
Sky Moore,
David Mills, Truther or something.
Oh yeah, I have a Mills Truther. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so if you could get back to the middle here and then keep the 10, Jameson, Cook, Sky Moore, George Pickens. Passing on most of these running backs, to be honest. I think people are more in love with them because they're shiny new running backs that we haven't seen, but I'm not crazy about them. But then in these more middle rounds, David Bell is a guy I like. Zamir White. Zamir White, if he somehow can last to you at the 3-2, and this is why though I'm open to picking up, 2s and 3s in the middle here. He's been a target of mine in Dynasty rookie drafts because they did not pick up Josh Jacobs' 5th-year option. So it seems like the very obvious plan is to run Jacobs into the ground this year, kick him to the curb, Zamir White come in 2023 and start the process all over again. So, I mean, he could be a bell cow next year, and you could get him potentially in the early third. So, I mean, that's a slam dunk for me if he lasts that long, as a target for you and for this build that we're trying to do. I would be taking none of the quarterbacks for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not even thinking about that.
Wan'Dale Robinson, 2nd-round draft capital. I know he's small, but it's Brian Dable. He knows what he's doing as opposed to previous Giants regime. So I'm kind of in on Wan'Dale. He would be a great 3rd-round target if Zamir doesn't make it to you. I already mentioned David Bell's a guy I like. Tolbert in Dallas. I mean, he could be the wide receiver too, while Gallup's still coming back from injury right off the bat. I really like him a lot. Again, I'm not in on many of these running backs, except for Keontae Ingram. I like his profile. Although I probably wouldn't spend the early 3rd on him. If he happens to be there for you at the 4-2, I would smash him there. It's a very shallow running back room there. Connor's probably gone. Keontae Ingram for Arizona. So he's a guy I would keep on your radar. Here, I'm gonna mark these guys as your watch list if you don't mind.
Yeah, by all means. I'm taking notes, but that would help too.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit them. The guys that I really like. It's not to say I'm totally out on the guys that I'm not gonna mark, but McBride's got an awesome profile. Just tight end for you feels like a waste. You've already got a decent stable. But again, 3rd round if he's there and some of these other guys are gone, go for it. I mean, I like Algier, I like Rashad White, but just don't go crazy. I'm not going to mark Dotson.
Okay.
Pickens, Moore, Cook, Jameson, and then obviously everyone above here is. Of course, I would take them if they happen to make it to 10 somehow. So I'm not going to mark them either. It's more the later round guys.
But say no one wants to trade or no one wants to do anything like that.
Which is very likely.
Yeah, I mean, is Kenneth Walker and then a receiver perfectly fine then at that point?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It's you're kind of forced into it, so yeah.
What would you do if that's how it shakes out? Just Kenneth Walker, and then let's say Jameson Williams at 110. Who are you going with 2-1 there? Are you going Zamir White, or are you going to wait till hope he goes to the 3rd?
Oh, that's such a good question. If Sky Moore is somehow there or if either of these two guys, Moore or Pickens, happen to slide to you, there's a smashes it too. But that could be wishful thinking.
I don't know much about Sky Moore.
Okay. He's Western Michigan MAC guy.
The Chiefs, so
yeah, exactly. Chiefs 2nd-round draft capital, college production, so a great athletic
Pickens,
profile. And yeah, Pickens for sure. I mean, if I had to pick between them two, I don't know what I would do. They're literally neck and neck.
I guess you go. I mean, yeah, it's tough because you would go. What's the depth like on either team? It's Sky Moore. Sorry, Pickens has Deante ahead of him. He has Chase Claypool, where Sky Moore also has some pretty good weapons around him too.
Yeah, Juju and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Yeah. That seems like the easier depth chart to climb versus Claypool and Deante. So I would guess I would lean more, but man, is it close. So yeah, you're round 2. I mean, gosh, if Dotson happens to be there, it's tough to pass on a 1st-round draft capital wide receiver, but it's Washington, so do they really know what they're doing with that pick? I would skip over these 2 running backs, even though they have the higher ADP. David Bell. Yeah, you might have to go. Oh God, it's so tough. It looks like you might have to choose between David Bell and Zamir White there, and I'd probably lean Zamir White.
At 2-1.
Yeah, I was hoping, maybe thinking about it, but see, this is why I hate, like, ADP being listed right on the site. It obviously has pros and cons for people that don't do as much research. It helps them take the better players available, but boy, do I wish it was just alphabetical. Because I've seen him earlier. He was going, and look how close it is. I mean, it's by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks potentially. He could make it to you, but are other people going to see the same story with the Josh Jacobs writing on the wall? Maybe yes, maybe no. He tore both his knees up in college. Yeah, people might be wary of that. Maybe he will slip. So if you could, ideally, if you could get a wide receiver at 2-1 and Zamir White at 3-1, that's the home run. But
what was it again? Sorry, repeat that.
A wide receiver at 2-1 and Zamir at 3-1. That would be a home run. But boy, is that a risky proposition. Honestly,
Two
you might.
ACLs is kind of scary, but
you might. Yeah, but you hope that it's over, right?
I mean, it could just be another what's his name. Get the most out of him for a couple, like 2-3 years, and then he's like falls off the face of the earth. Another Ajayi, basically, like needs degeneration, stuff like that.
I wouldn't hate, maybe you pull the trigger on Zamir at the 2, and then whichever of these wide receivers might be available at 3. Either Wandale keeps slipping, so maybe you still get the wide receiver running back combo, just flipped. So Zamir at 2, and then either Wandale or Tolbert at 3. That would be a home run too, I think, personally.
Yeah.
So if you came away with Kenneth Walker, Jameson Williams,
was only 20 years old.
Yeah, he's just. I don't know. I was a lot higher on him before draft capital and combine performance kind of dumped him. He's 4th round running back. He's behind Eckler. Like, yeah, if Eckler goes down, he could walk into a workhorse role, but that doesn't mean he's going to keep it for years to come, But yeah, if you could walk away with Walker, one of Jameson, Sky Moore, George Pickens here, maybe Zamir White at the 2, and Wandale at 3. I think that's a pretty great haul, to be perfectly honest. That could have you set up good and move forward. And then the 4th, Keontae Ingram would be great. I've marked Hassan Haskins.
Isn't Wandale just Henry? What's his name, like Shaka Tony? Or is it
he's small.
Yeah.
Shaka Tony.
Who am I thinking
of? Tutu.
No, wait. Who's the receiver they drafted from Florida a year ago? The Giants.
Oh, Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Kadarius Toney.
I guess they're kind of similar, but we heard that they're trying to trade Toney, and that was the previous regime. So
Kadarius Toney's a little taller too, so I thought he was.
Yeah. So yeah, then with the 4th round, I marked Hassan Haskins. If Derrick Henry goes down again, he could be walking into a workhorse role. I'll mark Tyquan Thornton only because he's got 2nd round draft capital. I was talking about Justin Ross with people on Twitter. To me, he's a Powerball ticket, right?
Clemson guy, right?
Yeah, his talent is through the roof. He had this ridiculous neck spinal fusion surgery. I mean,
we talked about him before. Yeah,
one bad hit and he's done. So he's either gonna remain healthy and he could be awesome, or he's just gonna be worth absolutely nothing. So I'm marking Romeo Dubes. I actually like a lot. He's a 4th round wide receiver, the 2nd one that the Packers took. Watson, I feel like, has bust written all over him, and Dubes could end up being the rookie that goes off this year. We see that a lot, right? The lower ranked rookies actually end up having a better year. He's got good size. He's young. Yeah, I like him a lot as a fourth round. Again, I'm staying away from the running backs, the tight ends, the quarterbacks. I just no. Velus Jones is super old. No. Calvin Austin. I mean, some people like him. He's really small. No, that's way too small. No, thank you. Danny Gray, I'll mark him. He's got third round draft capital. He's a burner with good size, at least. It was a bit of a surprise pick. Again, these third round rookies for San Francisco, he kind of got burned by Sermon last year, but he's a decent dart throw. Kyle Phillips in Tennessee, a lot of people have been liking him. I will mark Abram Smith. He's someone that I've been drafting a lot. He's a UDFA out of Baylor. With the questions around Kamara and his legal potential issues with a potential suspension looming, this guy, he's got great size. He's over 200 plus 221.
Yeah.
So he's got great size and he's fast. So he could be an early season. He could be a guy early season, has a great week one. Same strategy. Put him on the block if that happens and grab like a second rounder from someone. If you can hit on some of these fringe guys, trade them.
Yeah.
Because you're not looking to win this year.
No, I mean, who knows? Maybe I just get everyone's worst performance. Yeah, it happens.
I'm gonna mark this guy, Eric. Easy.
Actually, the worst case scenario is like everyone has their worst performance, and this team somehow like has a decent.
Yeah.
Team.
If like, you end up middle of the pack, that's like the worst possible scenario for you. That's what I'm saying. We're going to do like a conscious tank here. I like Eric, this guy from Miami, fourth rounder. I think he's a nice stash. And then Jalen Naylor. I'll end it there. So those are some fourth round dart throws. Close your eyes and pick one. They're they all have cases to be made for them. So yeah, I think we laid out some good strategy here.
Yeah.
I think this could be useful for a lot of people who might be in this situation. Kind of, maybe screwed up their startup a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're ahead of most people. So although you may have botched the startup, you've got 2 first rounders this year, 2 second rounders next year already.
2 first next year too.
What's that?
2 first next year.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Oh, yeah.
You got 2 23s and then 2 in this draft with the potential to gain more. Like we were saying with Dobbins potentially, I think you could easily get a future first out of him. And again, I honestly see some people want like the closer. I mean, for Dynasty, I understand that I'm patient enough to look in the future. So I'd be perfectly fine taking a 24 or a 25 first for some of these guys. Or this trade back scenario, right? If you can trade back in this year's first and grab a 24 or 25, home run for me. I don't think Kenneth Walker is that good that he's worth, punting on a future first. So that's the name of the game. Acquire the picks. Like I said, float Allen Robinson out there. Maybe you can grab a late first in this or a second in the third, maybe a second this year, a second next year, and a third this year, something like those deals like that. Just try to jam as many picks in there as possible for those kinds of guys that like they're not really worth a first, but if you could get multiple seconds or a second and multiple thirds, like it feels like it's not a great return, but it can be. If you can, what you're trying to do is load up on picks so that you have as many opportunities for lottery tickets as possible, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal. Instead of being tied down to just one pick per round, you can take shots on numerous guys in these later rounds, which there's Elijah Mitchell's perfect example. He was a third, fourth round rookie draft pick or was picked up on waivers. Like,
or a Cooper Kupp.
Those are the kind of guys, if you give yourself more picks, you'll have more exposure to hit on guys like that when you're ready to actually compete in 23 and forward. So Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Got a journey ahead here.
Is that yes? It's a process. You gotta be
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah, I love the draft part of it. So, I'm looking forward to that. Just wish they would set the date. But
Right.
at least I have a strategy now. I'll try to, again, make those moves, at the day of the draft to put them kind of in a
Right.
more of a bind there. But yeah, I think it's a good strategy. I think it's gonna, help. We also cleaned off some dead weight. We have some waivers in there too.
Exactly.
But yeah, again, like I said, worst case is middle of the pack team here. We're
Yeah.
kind of
We're shooting for last place.
yeah,
Because, like
no
I
comedy
said,
routines too.
for anybody else that might be in a similar situation, we already know the 101 next year, and that's Bijan Robinson. He's just going to be a monster. I mean, Brees Hall is going to be a monster. I would honestly, if you could, shit, you might even want
And
to float
Travion
out to the
Henderson
one.
in 2024.
Exactly. You might want to float the 2 and the 10 to the 101 guy. Even we didn't even talk about that. I know you're giving up an extra player, but I honestly think Brees Hall is a monster and
Mhm.
would be worth doing that even in a rebuild. So float that out there to say, let's flip back and I'll give you the 10 for Brees Hall and see what they say. It might be worth it. Maybe wait on
Just send them
that
a
closer
trade.
till
Send them like
I
a trade
wanted to.
offer.
I'm trying to think. Do you think it would be more beneficial to do it now or wait closer till once it gets set?
I mean, I think he already knows who I'm going after if I'm going for 1 of 1 though.
Right.
1-1. So it doesn't. I feel like he might just be set on Brees Hall, which is what my other Dynasty league was, where that was the one
Yeah.
where I had the best record in the league, but I traded Zeke towards his, and that's something you
Right.
always told me was, keep churning running back. So,
Yep.
churn Zeke at the right time, got a first, and that turned into a fourth this year. I mean, 104.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get up to, I wanted Brees because I have Jonathan Taylor. I think Brees and Jonathan
Right.
Taylor would be ridiculous.
Right.
Running back too. He said he's going to
That'd
hold
be
tight
awesome.
and not even, he's not going to consider any trades anymore. So
darn it.
maybe I'll try again, like closer to the draft, see if he changes his mind. But I was gonna do. Again, that's draft 2. I have 4 and 10. So I was like, I can package those. But yeah, maybe I'll try it with this guy now too and see what happens.
Try the 2
It's
and the
funny that
10
I
for the
traded with him
1.
already for this pick, essentially.
I know you guys keep flip flopping.
I kind of losing a bit here, yeah. But
You know
Brees
what?
Hall is.
I did something similar in a startup. I somehow traded away. I ended up with the 101 going into the Jonathan Taylor rookie year, and I acquired it back. Like I think I traded away Tyreek Hill and got back my 101 and something else. And I was more than happy with it because I knew I wanted Jonathan Taylor. So there's nothing wrong with going back to get your pick either. And I still think you can take Brees Hall and finish last going into this year. Maybe you work Dobbins into this deal too. I would start just straight up doing 2 and 10 for the 1. Actually, start with the 1-2 and the 2-1. I'm sure it'll say no, but you at least got to try that first, and then move up to the 110.
Yeah, you don't
And
want to
then
just give him the
yeah. So do your first and your second rounder first. I'm sure it'll get rejected, but you got to try there, and then say, all right, well, what if I do the 110 instead of the 2-1 plus the 1-2 for the 1-1? So I would try that first, and then if they're still being fussy, see what they think about Dobbins. Maybe we work Dobbins into the deal.
Yeah.
For the 2 first and Dobbins, and you get the 1-1, and say like, give me your 25
let me look
first.
at his team too. Super League.
Oh yeah, okay.
Let me look at his team. Steve Carter.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Kamara. Oh, see, he's running back needy too. That's interesting. Kamara, Michelle, Michael Carter's done. Oh wow, yeah. So Yeah,
He
he
might
needs
need your
running back
services
help too.
too.
Oh, he's got C. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah, so maybe. I mean, what would you? So if we do pretend that he'll take. So we do the 101.
Mm-hmm.
Wait let's do your side first. You give 102, the 201, J.K. Dobbins, and ask for the 1-1 and like a 20. Go. So you want Singleton, right? In 25, ask for a 25 first. Start there and be like, so listen, you're still getting a good running back in Walker. 2-1, you never know who's going to be there. You could get another running back there, and I'm giving you Dobbins. Would you be okay with that? So you're essentially flipping J.K. Dobbins, Kenneth Walker, and one of those wide receivers, maybe James Cook, for Breece Hall, who I think is a monster, and a 25 first. So I think that definitely helps you tank this year again, right? And now you have a cornerstone running back. Maybe it feels like a little too much. I don't know. What do you think? Oh, you're on mute. Huh? You're on mute. Hold on. I can't hear you. Okay.
No, I was thinking like I feel like getting rid of J.K. Dobbins is just like a blatant like tank after already giving up Nick Chubb, and I don't know. I feel like
So yeah, that maybe that's getting too. That's too many
I think a
pieces.
1-1 and 2-1 for the first, was it just for the first,
Yeah.
is a good way
Yeah.
to start
Start with
and kind
that.
of go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. The 1-2 and the 2-1 for the 101. Try that.
Yeah.
Move it up to the 10. If he's, I think that's a fair deal. If they, I
Wait, you
guess it
think what's a fair deal? You
depends.
think the 110 too is a fair deal?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he would be. I think it would be a smash for you if they would take the 102 and the 2-1 for the one.
Mm-hmm.
The 101, that would be a great deal for you.
Yeah.
But then I think the 110 and the 1-2 for the 1-1 would be the more appropriate and fair for both sides deal. But
Mm-hmm.
that might be a tough sell too. That's why I was talking about Dobbins, but we'll cross that bridge. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
We'll do a check-in and we'll go from there. Start with that, and then put all those guys that I talked about on the block: Dobbins, Robinson, Gage,
Well, opportunistic
Boyd,
block.
Thielen.
Like wait for
Put
the
them
opportunity.
on the trade block. You put
Yeah,
them on the
yeah,
trade block, and that'll post it in the chat, and I'll see it. You
yeah.
can maybe try to work some deals there.
Uh,
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Again, this is advice you can get idpguys.org. We've got a great Discord chat to help you work through these exact kind of scenarios. We're working towards doing more personalized reviews like this with people. So this is sort of a trial run. Thanks for being my guinea pig, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. I needed
But
it.
yeah, yeah. So hopefully we gave you some good advice here, and everybody take it easy.